Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Breckenridge, and I'm going to be bringing on one of our members from our Power of Eight group, Suzy, tonight. And she's going to tell us all about her gifts and a little bit about her life and what she finds beneficial in our meetings and how she contributes and how she found us. So this is Suzy from Japan joining us to talk about her experience in our Power of Eight group. And how you doing there, Suzy?
Good. How are you, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, I'm good. We're all
And
hanging
this
in
is
here in this chaotic world, it seems. But
mhm,
this is one of the things that's great about doing this work is a lot of people are going through not only health issues, health crisis. Crisis seems to be a good word out there, and situations that they might be going through, crisis. And I think as spiritual people, I kind of look at when there's crisis going on out there. I don't know about you, Suzy, but it always makes me go more inside because I want to see, is there chaos going on inside of me? And when I can settle myself down inside, then when I look outside, it's almost, I can have a maybe more sense of humor or realize that what is going on today will pass in no time, and then tomorrow is new news. So today's news is passing as quickly as each night.
mm,
And so, yeah, this is the benefits, I think, of being in this group. We meet,
mhm,
first thing for my time, 8 o'clock every Monday morning. And it tends to ground me and feel like I am giving something back to people who are in need and contribute in a small way. And whether we're working on animals, which I love,
mhm.
people, or their situations, their health, or crisis that they might be dealing with. So, people, I know you came into the group. I don't know, was it like 8 months ago now? It was,
About, yes, good memory, Mary Ellen.
I know you
And
came into the
yes,
group, and
hmm
I don't know whether I missed the introduction the first time you
yes,
joined,
yes,
but I wasn't sure your connection to the group. So maybe you could tell us how you came to know about our group and who invited you in. And
yes. Thanks. Connection to the group would be Jennifer, who
yeah,
you'll be interviewing soon.
yeah,
She and I worked at the same, that was English school in Victoria
right,
many years ago. Then she happened to know my partner's parents, my parents-in-law. Then sort of that was the connection, and then we kind of come back. Our path came across again recently because of she practices QHHD. Um, then I had a session from her, and then before and after we had a conversation, and she mentioned about this group, which connects a group of eight group. Lynne McTaggart, yes, yeah, via her book, yeah, and I've already read the book and had so much respect for her and interest in the group. So she connected me to the group, and I joined.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember you just being a participant.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what we do is
Mm-hmm.
we send our intentions out to our Heelys, our clients,
Mm-hmm.
and then as a group, we individually share back our
Yeah.
experience and our intuitive gifts, whatever
Mm-hmm.
comes to us, we seem to share. And it was remarkable to me. The first time I remember meeting you was how you just melded into the group so naturally, and the gifts that you brought were so resonating with the group. You just fit in like
Mm-hmm.
immediately. And
Oh,
I think you
thanks.
were only in the group for a few weeks, and then we had the time change. And because comes from, she's now in Japan. You lived in Victoria.
Yes. I lived in Victoria just over 20 years. And before that was obviously in Japan, specifically Okinawa. That's an island in the southern part of Japan.
Right.
And I moved to Vancouver Island. And then I'm back again here for I don't know how long. I haven't decided much for what. Just doing what I can do now here with my family and friends. And it is so nice I can still tune in with this group, even though that's your first, like you said, it's the morning of Monday there. I'll be Monday midnight going into Tuesday, super early in the morning, midnight to 1 a.m.
Right.
Yeah. And I like that rest of the group also tuning from everywhere, pretty much on the globe. And then everybody's clock is often different. And then I like that even that we can still tune into the same field, which I felt at the beginning, perhaps why you felt that I just came right in and fit in, because for sure of that, I think our field is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. It is remarkable how we come from all over the planet, Germany, you're in Japan now, the United States, the southern part, Paula's often traveling around Europe, UK, Italy, different parts of Europe. So it's really unique, I think, that we can come together as a group, no matter where we are in the world, and do this beautiful work.
Yeah, and I even feel that's like more of the global geographical sort of, spots. But I feel almost we're actually more together in the larger sphere, in the cosmic galactic level, whereas beyond geographical distance and time and space. And I think that's where our field is.
So it's interesting, the language you were just using. Where do you feel like your spiritual roots started?
Here in Okinawa, definitely, where I was born and raised. Yes, a lot of mystics and sort of priestesses that it's different words in Japanese, obviously, but if I were to pick some words in English within my English language skill, that would be those energy field, and many are at work. I feel, and I believe throughout Japan, and then that resonated with me since my day one here. Perhaps my soul chose. That's why I was born to my parents on this land, and so it was more of like part of my being. Yes, I never feel like I learned it somewhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Where we left off.
Yeah, that's okay. And then how about you, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, well, one of the things that quite often a lot of us feel that when we were younger, we had all these intuitive gifts. We knew how to make believe, and we talked to beings. And our culture, it was common where my mother particularly would say, even though I was one of 6 children, I was often enjoying playing by myself with my dolls and my stuffed animals, pretending to be a teacher, and I would communicate. And she would say things to me like, if you keep talking like that, they're going to come and take you away. So it seemed like in our culture that if you used your imagination or you played make-believe, then it was sort of seen as you were kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
So that blocks a lot of us from our intuitive gifts, and we kind of shut it down.
Yeah.
Suppress it over time.
Yeah.
But then as time goes by, depending on what your lifestyle is like. Me, I was a dental hygienist for 30 years. And, being able to work one-on-one with each client. And it's a very meditative skill because you're just feeling the little pads in your fingers. And so
Mm,
I once thought, how is it that, like I like to be an active, busy person, that I could sit
mm,
there for 8 hours and scale teeth all day? And I realized
mm,
I was basically in a meditative state.
mm,
Quite often I would get questions to ask my clients, and when they would
mm,
give me feedback, they would always say, "Oh, I really needed to hear that message today," or
mm,
"That was a very interesting question you asked."
mm, mm,
So just over time, I started to realize that I had this intuition that would come to me.
mhm, mhm,
And then Hay House Publishing Company, um,
mm.
they had an intuitive course put on by Doreen Virtue.
Okay, okay, I've heard
She
of
was an
her.
angel intuitive that
Mm,
I used to follow. I thought she was very authentic. And
mm,
so they said, "Do you want to know how to use your intuition?"
mm,
So I thought, well, I'm going to go. I was in Maui in Hawaii, which is,
mm,
love Maui. So
mm.
I went to that course, and I realized that I was claircognizant, that I just have this
Yeah,
knowing that if
yeah.
I could say what I was taught to, if I were to know the name of my guardian angels, this one here is Karita and this one is Bethel.
Mm,
It's like whatever
mm,
comes out of my mouth, and quite often I journal. So I can just write. And if I were to know the answer to this, the answer is, and then I just allow the pen to
mm,
write the answer. And
mm.
so that's my intuitive gift of just trusting that I just know the answers, they come out, and
Yes,
write them down on paper.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that when you're connected to your intuition and you can
Mm,
feel in your heart or your stomach, or you are living inside your
mm,
body is your compass and it's always giving
mm,
you signals. And
mm,
so I've been paying attention to that a lot in the last decade.
mm,
And I really enjoy that. So
mm,
when it was COVID, of course, I studied energy medicine back in
mm,
2019,
mm,
and was from that group of people we were communicating, getting together through COVID on Zoom, that someone said they wanted to start a Power of Eight group based on Lynne McTaggart's book. And I just read up on the book and I thought it was interesting. I wasn't doing much. So I thought, well, I would love to join. And, it was put forth to me that, well, this is long term. It's not just through COVID. I was like, well, that's okay. I own my own business. So I can, when I go back to work, whenever we do go back to work, I'm going to schedule this time off and I will continue. And so I've continued ever since for the last 5 years,
mm.
because I just feel like the work that we do is so amazing. And really, I used to think that I was enjoying giving to people, but really, after a few years, I stuck with it because of what I get from it too. It's really a
Mhm.
give and take exchange of beautiful, loving energy, and it works.
Yes, yes, definitely. I
Yeah.
hear that. So the career cognizance would be your strongest of all, you would say.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, I can.
Mm,
Yeah. That intuition. And then, of
mm,
course, the energy medicine just resonated with me.
mhm,
Because my son has cystic fibrosis, if there's a modality of healing, I was always interested. It's like, well, maybe there's something I can learn to help him.
mm,
And then I find that he has inspired me along my spiritual path for the last 28 years, in
mm,
search of, being the best mom I could be to protect him, and
mm,
um, learn as much as I can about health.
mhm,
Of course, with my logical brain having a Bachelor of Science in, knowing the body
mm,
scientifically, immunology and all the different diseases, microbiology, that logical part of my brain, been trained in school, but then there's that beautiful right side of my brain that is intuitive and that feminine energy and creative, and bridging those two brains together is such a gift that because I can bring in the knowledge of the physical body, but what I've learned from being intuitive is that the spiritual realms, you don't have to go anywhere in the ethers. It's all right here, that we're more than just this physical mass, that we are way more than we've been taught to believe.
Mm-hmm. And more, I think we'll only discover more. There is always more, like, yeah, there's always more love. That's the message I always get.
More
there's
love.
Always more love. There's always more love. And, you know, then their love is all there is. And then there's always more love. And then I love that your description of harmonizing your right and left and divine feminine, divine masculine. And I agree, that's, I think, one of the reasons why we were given, or we chose to come into the life of a body on Earth, from all sorts of galaxy and planet to mine. And then we have this body to put into action. And while we're almost making love with the Earth, you know, and feet on ground, and the heart expand wide into as far as you could imagine and take them. Yeah, that's so beautiful, Mary Ellen. And then your relationship with your son. Yes. And I do definitely agree. I would more lean towards and preferably approach to, when it comes to healing, less and less invasive way, which energy offers. You don't have to slice our, you know, bodies. And yeah, very, very curious into that topic. I am.
One thing I'm very curious about in your upbringing, did you have a religious practice? What?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, like interesting. I would just say, like, very much ancestor. I don't know if it comes to the point of worship, but like, yes, very respect for ancestors. There's always acknowledgement and presence. There's a lot of like events and dates on the calendar when we do some sort of ceremony or rituals, I think throughout Japan. And we do that in Okinawa. Also similar, I would just say, as it introduces Shinto, like everything is conscious. Everything has a life. Your chair, your pen, chopsticks, everything. And a single grain of rice, it had 7 gods in it, and like everything. So that kind of, I would just say, first it begins with the mindset. I never felt that's a teaching. I think I almost took that as a fact. So, and that led me definitely have more respect in animals, and, well, not more. I've always felt them equal, plants and animals. You know, it's not my right to pick flower from the street. Well, as a kid, I might have done it, you know, to gift to my mom or someone. And yeah, like that kind of thing. Could it be close to religion in the way you ask?
Well, the reason I ask is sometimes I think a lot of religious dogma gets in the way of spirituality. And I just recently met a young lady at the beach from Vietnam, and she's been in Canada, I think, for 5 years now. But she was showing me on a graph how in Vietnam, it's like 90% there's no religion. And she has such a sweet purity about her that I was just having that thought in my head that religion has caused a lot of people to separate from themselves, because even the words, whether it's God or divine or faith or hope, all these words are associated with religion. And so there's a disconnect for a lot of people, let's say in Christianity, how I was brought up, that religion and spirituality are in my very separate. There are, the biblical stories of Christianity,
Right.
and you can refer to them, and I've always looked at them as kind of metaphors and lessons in life and things like that. But I know for myself that if a word triggers me, it's like, oh, there's something in it for me. Like,
Okay.
God, like, why don't we want to say that word?
Yeah.
Now I have an image of God. I believe God is within us, within everything. It is creation. It is love. It is the sun that grows everything and provided by Mother Earth. And that is God. We're all part of God.
Yeah.
But, take me back 30 years ago, I went to angels. They were more a safe, because angels are nice and they're gentle. That was my vision of them. So I knew that they were around to protect me, but I couldn't go to God as I was taught in religion, that,
the word meant something different for you.
A judgment, right? So it's taken me a long time to get comfortable with expressing the words that I feel express my reality the most. And
I think very interesting point. I feel we are also at the place where we are reclaiming the energy behind the word we use. Yes, because you had that with the word God.
Yes.
And then that was what you were passed down, and it created, under some sort of circumstances, an image. Well, now you see, like, if I start speaking Japanese right now, it will be, this kind of, like, I think many things are, if we just focus on words and what it said, it would be a lost in translation, even though we speak same language. And sometimes, even though we speak different language, we focus on the energy behind it. And I think we are individually and then collectively reclaiming that, and then that's part of our practice as well, because we share words afterwards, but then we're focusing on the energy aspects of it, and I like that.
Yes, I find that resonance of words have really become my vocabulary. Let's say just in the last 5 years, I've really noticed when people speak low vibration words, and those will trigger me too, because it, like, I can just feel my energy drop when someone says, "Oh, I hate this," and I'm like, well, hate is a very strong word that is like, really? Or do you hate it when somebody does that, or do you hate it? That is something that happens.
It's
to reframe words that are of higher vibration words, like joy and love and laughter. And even when you say those words, they have more of a song to them. They have more of a higher resonance rather than fear. I mean, even when you say that, it's just my energy drops when I use that language, like happiness, anger. I can hear myself as I say those words, that it's low vibration. And so when we start to really be sensitive to energy, even words.
And tune into more, like, again, like, energy of the word. Potentially that person don't know any other word but hate to express. And often what I feel when I hear that word, like, then you sort of pierce through it, I hear hurt, and then some, that kind of feeling of, like, same, I'm very similar with the, like, cognizant part. That person saying the word hate, but, like, I hear hurt, and then then some words, sometimes fear or sadness of it, and we are kind of started exploring to that field right now, not just what's on the surface, someone hating someone, but there's a little person in that person who's so afraid or hurt. And then it's, I think, a very compassionate thing to approach the little person in each person. And I like that practice. Yeah. And then animals and plants are amazing ratioers in a way. To like, they're showing me the way to do it. They're my teachers. Yeah.
Lovely. Yes, well, we could go on and on about energy, yes, vibration in
that's all about Power of 8.
So yeah, and in the Power of 8 group, how do you see how do you contribute, like during the discussions? Like, how do you find your experience is when it's time to share? Well, maybe we were bringing somebody else into the group. Somebody listening to this right now thinks that it would be would like to explore this group.
I think it's almost I say it with the utmost respect and intention. It's a playground for me, even though there's a healing happening. It's a playground for me, but not individual. That's playground only you can play as a collective. Yeah, it's some field of alchemy that you cannot do just by yourself. So that's the energy I'm feeling. And then everybody is different, unique skills, bringing in tools, and we're tinkering to create something beautiful, or inviting something beautiful, like perhaps holding a space field, creating a space for divine something to come in. It's hard to put into words, but my approach is always play and wonder and humor. Lighter the better, but not in a disrespectful way. But there's always many faces and everything. I pick the lightest part and the most hopefully humorous part of it, because that's, again, I was taught by animals and plants. They teach me the language of energy and how I navigate it. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I know I speak for a lot of us in the group who have been around for a little while longer. I think you're the latest member to join. We haven't had anybody new since you, but what you bring to the group, I find amazing right from day one. And I would say on my end, what I've always experienced, and it always reinforces how gifted everyone is, because when we start to share individually, how the story comes together and how many people are picking up the same kind of energy, maybe in a different way, or have done a different thing, but the story really does all come together, and it just reinforces that we really are in tune to a certain field of that person. And then we get feedback, sometimes immediately within a week, sometimes it's a year later or 2 years later that we get feedback that someone who had stage 4, just filled with cancer, has no tumors anymore. So energy is a thing, and it's very powerful.
It's like each one of us would bring a flower to a bouquet, and then almost flower arrangements going on as a field, and then the person who receives as is.
Yep, they get the essence of the flower. They get the perfume of the flower. I love observing nature like you, it sounds like, and the different cycles, from the seed coming into the bud, bloom, and the show, and then it's time for it to withdraw its energy and go back into the earth, and that cycle all goes around again.
Yeah, it's hard to meet, it's hard to get mad at receiving bouquet of flowers, so it's really nice,
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah, whatever that was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So for anybody who is interested in either becoming a Healy or
Mm-hmm.
a healer, um, we'll have links at the bottom to have you contact us
Mm-hmm.
and spread the word. And we are always here to help each other, and
Yeah, and
it
play.
comes to us, and we always are sending out good vibrations for the planet, and we do healings for the
Yeah,
whole planet at large as well when
yeah.
we connect. So
Mm.
it's good work.
Yes, great work,
Mm-hmm.
Mary Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how do you see, um, how do I ask this? How do you see this will expand as a group? Like, is there any intention in regard of making those videos? Um,
Well,
what
yeah, it
triggered
is my
you?
intention is like our group is usually focused on bringing in Heelys. I know
Mm-hmm,
groups that just come together, 8 people or
mm-hmm,
10 people, and they work on issues of the people within their group. And things
mm,
are always coming up for people, it's like
yes.
um, there's always another layer of healing. So
Mm,
whether people want to come into a group like this for their own healing, or they want to participate in sending healing intentions out, it can go
yeah.
both ways.
So, mm-hmm,
And I think, of course, by putting these videos out, not only are we getting the word out, what we do, and inviting people in, and we're always inviting people to join and see if they resonate with the group and if it's a good fit for them, or maybe it's another group that they want. I could be probably involved in 3 different groups. I love
mm-hmm,
it so much. I get
mm-hmm,
so energized each Monday morning
mm-hmm,
to start my week that if I don't do anything else for the rest of the week, I feel like I've done something with my life
mm-hmm,
that is
mm-hmm.
good.
Yes. Exactly.
It's very energizing for the individuals, I think, in the group, and it's a great support. The women,
Mm,
we go through different things in our lives. I know I've been through a few things in the last 5 years, ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and it's this group that has really got me through some of the most difficult times in my life. So
mm,
I'm super grateful for
mm,
all the lovely women that we work
yeah.
with, and we have had men in our group that have come.
Mm,
Sometimes life just takes over and people get really busy and can't make our specific time and go on to other
mm.
groups, but men are also very much welcome.
Yes.
We're,
Yes.
we're all females in this group.
Yeah. How about people who are curious, for say novices? I've never done this before, but I'm curious how it works, and I don't even know how to say hold the space or send energy, or would they be welcome? I would say yes.
Yeah, usually people can just
Yeah,
reach
these
out to
people.
us, and our group will either say, yes, we think
Yeah.
that we can provide the space for someone to come and sit with us, and they can
Mm-hmm.
experience the hour, and they can just
Yeah.
meditate when we do send it. They can send the intentions of healing, and
Yes.
they can see
Yeah.
what we do, and then
Yeah.
they may realize it's like, oh, I had that same
Yeah.
experience, or I was thinking that, and it may spark
Mm.
something inside of
Mm-hmm.
them that they start to realize that they have
Yeah.
these gifts as well. And the more you use it, it's just like a muscle, it gets stronger and bigger over time. So
Mm-hmm.
we've all had to
Mm-hmm.
start somewhere
Mm-hmm.
where we start to
Mm-hmm.
trust that we are spiritual beings and that we
Mm.
perceive things. And whether
Yes.
you're claircognizant
Yeah.
or clair audio, you hear things, or clair visual, right? Or
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
there are many different
Yes.
gifts that we are
Mm-hmm.
bestowed
Mm-hmm.
from
Mm-hmm.
being
Yes.
in this experience.
Yes. Yeah.
So I say,
Yes.
come on out, try it out, and
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
if it's for you. And
Yes.
there is somewhere online you can go. There's Power
Mm-hmm.
Mate groups all over the world, I
Mm-hmm.
believe now, in
Mm-hmm.
many continents. So you can just Google a place near you, or you don't even need to be in close proximity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some groups here in
Yeah.
Victoria, they all.
Yeah. As long as you can stay up late like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can choose with intuitively choose. Yes, I just really felt for the novice or like who were just trying to step in and feeling nervous about it. I would like, I feel our field is very safe and welcoming for that. And then I would like to encourage, of course, the ones been practicing, I would love to meet them too. At the same time, the just want to step in and being shy, maybe your son and then their friends and, the
Mhm.
ones, that things that we don't get taught in schools,
Right.
and sometimes, sometimes they just don't know this is available. And so I'm like that.
Yeah. Well, this has been wonderful talking to you.
Wonderful. It's wonderful talking to you, Marianne. And thank you for staying up.
Staying up, yes. It's only, what is it? 10 to 9. I usually go to bed around
Okay.
10 o'clock, so
Okay.
it's not bad. It's not
That's
my
wonderful.
best time.
Yeah.
I'm usually like more connected in the morning time because I get up
Yeah.
late.
Yes.
But yeah.
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 Yeah. Thank you. Yes, there is no, I think, light that I can use for nighttime here. So I had to use the solar power.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, solar power, I mean by sunshine from Okinawa. But
Well, I know when just before you came on, if we had to
yeah.
come on at 7:30, the sun was going down in this window
Yeah. Oh,
here.
pretty.
And so it was too bright. And then
Mm-hmm.
by 8 o'clock, when the sun had gone down, then it was too dark in here, and then I had to find a light.
Yeah. Yes. I know. You see me every Monday. I have such a tiny, just bulb of light. Otherwise, it'll be too bright and it'll look so scary,
I don't think you can look scary.
I get scared. It's too bright. Yes. Anyways, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything you do. So wonderful. And I just trust whatever we did, even though, say, I feel like, but like, you never know what others receive. So I just trust and I just let it go. Yeah.
I think if we're being
Then I start
authentic
forgetting a lot
self
of
and
things.
our intentions are good,
Yeah.
it's just we're putting more light
Mm-hmm.
into the world. So yeah, and
Yeah, like even like
spend all
life
day
in
doing
Canada,
this,
even I lived there
really.
for I know. I know. And then at the same time, like I feel like even my life in Canada for 20 years even feels past life now recently, I still connect with my partner and people there and then in communication. It just feel like it feels like the Johnson Bridge feels so far away, in time wise, like I was walking back and forth there almost every day with my dog everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I find it
Yeah.
it's a very interesting time. I think it's a very exciting time because as us light workers are evolving and, the more connected we are and the more time we spend in the light, which we've been asked to do a lot, I would say, particularly since COVID. It's I just feel like things are shifting, and I don't know because I stopped working where I was working, had my own business, I'm very focused on that. It was a blessing that I could still be spiritual and had angels. My clinic was very spiritual, and those were the type of people that were attracted, and those were the people that stayed, like Jennifer. She was one of my first clients. And So I got to visit with people all day long.
Oh, really?
That were like Jennifer, right? Like those are the people that resonated with me. They liked my atmosphere. They liked that I was spiritual, that I liked angels, and there would be like little heart angel cards for them to pick and read a note before they left. And I always wanted to make the experience very angelical. And that since I stopped working, now I'm not on a schedule. But I don't know if it is that in combination, but I really do feel like time is like sometimes I really don't know what day of the week it is or the month. And I'm like, and I'm not thinking I'm losing my mind. I'm not so attached to the month. I really like to follow the lunar phases. To me, every 28 days is like a new year because I feel like I cycle with the moon, right? And
so you might love to hear this, like this island I was raised in, we do both calendars, and a lot of events and rituals are kept with the lunar cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the farmers and fishermen, they know it, Right. Then we have, sort of,
Earth.
Proper calendar that we followed things. Yeah. And a lot of, yes, that's really, really good to have both, just like your right brain, left brain, Yeah.
Yeah, like when we set up these meetings, I thought, okay, it's the 1st of April. We'll get them done the first 2 weeks of April. It felt like the right time. And then when something like that can come into your life and, like a friend is in need and jump into this other world that I'm not used to anymore.
Yes.
I just look back and go like, I offered up those old skills, that talent to help a friend. But it was like, they still want me to work more this week and next week. And I'm like, that just took a month out of my life because that work is so intense that I was sleeping a lot and really just disrupted my whole way of being because
your rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah, my rhythm in the last, since December, I moved back home to Victoria and really stepped into my spiritual path and living a spiritual life instead of sort of in and out, like,
So that's where you were born and raised, in Victoria?
No, I actually grew up in Montreal. I was born in Montreal.
Okay.
And then over time, my parents kept moving across Canada.
Across Canada.
I went to high school in Brampton, Ontario, which is in the news a lot these days. But I lived there when it was just a small town, all farm fields, and now it's a big, huge city. And then I moved to Vancouver after high school. I lived in Vancouver for a number of years, and I came to Victoria to do my dental hygiene, which when I met my former husband and we got married and bought a house and had my son, who's 28 now. So I decided to start my own business because I wanted to, I knew that Victoria was something I could just root into.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I had moved so much throughout my life in big cities, I knew I didn't want to leave Victoria, that this was home. And so I knew when I started that business that I would be deeply rooted here. And I was, and that was really beautiful. But like you said at the beginning, it's like, I really don't know how the path unfolds from here. And I'm trusting that I will be shown the way.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes, I feel like that. It's really now is most relevant.
Yes.
That's it. Everywhere else is sort of parallel, time traveling.
Yeah.
And then have you ever seen Fifth Element, the movie? Bruce Willis and it's called The Fifth Element.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I have seen it.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that was something of starving coming into and then all that stuff. But why I mentioned was because in it, he's a taxi driver at the beginning, driving taxi, but like it's a floating one. It goes up and down and straight, and then like so the whole like driving system is operating not just one way and right or left. Everybody's like driving every direction. I feel that way right now. There is no direction. There's no right or wrong.
Right.
Just keep it safe. Keep it polite. Before we used to be navigated more. There's a traffic light, there's an intersection. But right now it feels like we are driving whatever we want to drive. Going in whatever the direction we want to go, whatever the speed we would like. Maybe some of them even disappear, then pop. So like it kind of feel that. And then, yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to be in this place where you can experience, because I think a lot of people, I'm going to say, let's say, if you're not awake, if you didn't wake up in 2020 and you're still having to wake up, and when I say wake up, it's usually something traumatic has to happen. We have to, and some people will suppress those things and not learn from them and evolve to wake up until the next thing. And and the knock gets louder and louder and harder and harder. So on that note, we're awake. And maybe somewhere in the world, people are going to sleep, but it's a great time, an exciting time to be part of a Power of 8 group, contribute in a positive way to raise the vibration of the planet, and what you receive back is tenfold what you put out. So on that note, Suzy, I'll say good night, and we'll see you again. Ciao, ciao.